Good morning. So, yesterday I spent the bulk of my day watching my way through six Lana Turner and Lana Turner adjacent films, and I'm going to talk about them now. The first one was 1940's We Who Are Young, based or written by Dalton Trumbo and starring Lana Turner and John Shelton. It starts out sort of as an exploration of um, this phenomenon that was a post-war or pre-war, and then later a post-war phenomenon where married women could be discriminated in the workforce. Basically, if you got married, you got kicked out because there were men who needed jobs and you had a man supporting you. And there's a lot of great literature about this phenomena and how it took a long time for this to get legalized. So that women could not be fired just because they were married. Um, so if you think women had it great for a long time, like you don't know anything about the history of employment in America. But it starts out as that. Later, it sort of delves into an unpacking of the American pull yourself up by your bootstraps myth and how anybody who thinks they haven't been helped by anybody hasn't been paying attention to how our society functions. It's very Dalton Trumbo. It's very good. Um, my main complaint is John Shelton, the main character, is a bit of a whiner. Like, a lot of unfair things happen to him, but he also makes a lot of really bad decisions. And unfortunately, the film mostly thinks he's in the right even when he's making bad decisions, and that's my one complaint about the film. And there's not enough Lana Turner, and she's fantastic and should be in every scene, and I wish they had explored more her feelings at wanting to keep working, but it was written by a man, so who knows. The next film was uh, a film she made also in 1940 with Joan Blondell called Two Girls on Broadway. In this one, Joan Blondell is the fiance of a singer played by George Murphy who has gone to New York pretending he has singing canaries in order to get booking with a producer. When the producer discovers the canaries don't actually sing, but he likes the singer's song, the singer convinces the producer to let him bring his fiancee Joan Blondell and her kid sister, played by Lana Turner, in for an audition as well. Joan Blondell ends up being a cigarette girl. Lana Turner ends up in the show. At the same time, a rich playboy who marries someone new every year falls for Lana Turner, while Lana Turner falls for her big sister's fiance. Obviously, things are gonna go crazy, including when a gossip columnist played by Wallace Ford, who used to know Joan Blondell back in the day, gets into the mix. I liked parts of this movie. I didn't like other parts of the movie. I thought Wally Ford was really good. Joan Blondell's always good. Lana Turner's beautiful. Bits of it didn't quite work. It's one of those where it feels like maybe it would have been a better 1930s film, and somehow got made in 1940. So, and it's based on a story by Edmund Goulding, so it was probably supposed to be a 30s film. At which point, if it had been like a depression film, it would have really worked, I think. But it has a beautiful poster, so check out the poster. The third film I watched was, I believe, Lana Turner's second film with Clark Gable, and his last film before he went off to the army during World War II. This is Wesley Ruggles' Somewhere I'll Find You. It is an MGM sort of propaganda film, pro-war propaganda film. They started filming it in 1940. It wasn't finished until 1942. And in it, who is it? It's Clark Gable and Robert Sterling are war correspondents and brothers. Robert Sterling's lady friend is played by Lana Turner. Clark Gable kind of falls for Lana Turner. Lana Turner falls back for him. And then it traces the two brothers as they write about the war and attempt to find Lana Turner while she is working with orphaned children in China. You also get a very early glimpse at Van Johnson, who obviously would come in and become a huge star during the war because he was slightly too young to go off to war, and so, became a big leading man in the war years. This film also includes references to Pearl Harbor and all kinds of things, and lots of horrible sort of anti-Japanese phrases. It's not great. So, American racism, woo. So it also ends with a huge plea to buy war bonds. Mostly, it's supposed to be a Gable Turner pairing, but it's like 75% Gable and 25% Turner, and it just was just not enough Lana Turner for me. But in the scenes that she's in, she's fantastic. So what are you gonna do? The next film I watched was not really a Lana Turner film. This is called The Youngest Profession. It's based on a novel by Lillian Day and contains cameos of stars playing themselves, including Greer Garson, Lana Turner, William Powell, Walter Pidgeon, and most notably Robert Taylor. In it, Virginia Wielder runs a club of um, um, autograph seekers who've just got a great letter from Lana Turner, and they're trying to get more. They've discovered that Greer Garson and Walter Pidgeon are in town, later Robert Taylor. They stalk them all. She also thinks that her father, played by Edward Arnold, is having an affair with his secretary because she sees suspicious things. Little does she know that actually her father's secretary is in love with one of her father's employees, and they're just having a hard time getting it started. She hires somebody to pretend to flirt with her mother. All kinds of shenanigans ensue. There's also some terrible Japanese phrases in this film as well. It's from 1943. It's unfortunate. I didn't like very much of the film. It felt like it had too much energy from the teenagers in an annoying way until the very end and the dance sequence. I really enjoyed that part of the film. So the next one I watched was 1943's Slightly Dangerous. This film is fantastic. It stars Lana Turner as a woman who works in a department store. She's at the soda jerk part, and she has just gotten a certificate for coming to work on time every day for 1,000 days straight. She's 21. She's seeing her future and realizing it's terrible. She gets berated by the new manager, played by Robert Young, because she does a sequence where she makes a banana split blindfolded, a sequence that was directed by Buster Keaton. It's delightful. So she decides to fake her death and move to New York and completely change her name. At which point, Robert Young is accused of driving an employee to suicide, so he's trying to track her down. Also, she spends her last money to change her hair blonde, buy some new clothes, and change her name, and then she's going to figure out what to do with her life. Unfortunately, while flipping her lucky penny, she gets hit in the head by a paint canister that's owned by a newspaper magnate who decides to take her picture and say, "Who is this?" because she pretends she has amnesia. At which point she goes to the newspaper archives, finds a missing heiress, and pretends to be her father, played by none other than Walter Brennan. Obviously, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of shenanigans ensue. Lana Turner is doing great comedy in this film. It's a comedy, it's a romance, it's lovely, it's sweet, it's funny. I wish she did more comedies. I really, really loved this film. Of all the ones I watched, this one was my favorite. This is Slightly Dangerous, 1943. The last one I watched was 1945's Keep Your Powder Dry, and it's about the Women Army Corps. There's several films about the Women's Army Corps, and there's a few films about the Waves and various other women in the military. And unfortunately, in this society, we tend to forget that women were in the military. And if you looked at any war film, basically other than MASH, from 1950 on, or really 1960 on, you wouldn't even know that women were in World War II. I know MASH is Korea, but they at least acknowledged that there were women in Korea, whereas a lot of World War II movies these days tend to forget that there were women in the Army in lots of countries, but in our country, specifically in the Women Army Corps. So in this one, we have 3 different women, played by Lana Turner, Susan Peters, and Lorraine Day, as well as June Lockhart, but she's minor, who have joined the Women Army Corps for various reasons and are have vision. What's the word I'm looking for? They don't get along, and throughout the film, and then towards the end, they realize they're all there for the right reasons, and that they're all there to be soldiers, and they're all there to be officers, and they're going to win this war. And it's a very patriotic film. Lovely performances from all of the actresses. You also get bonus Agnes Moorehead as the lieutenant colonel. It's a fantastic film. I really enjoyed it. I think it reminded me of several other sort of men in training films, except it was women in training. And frankly, I think more people need to see this and remember that, like, women fought in World War II as well. And the women in Army Corps, they were trained like soldiers, just like the men. And we need to not forget that. So you should check this movie out. Most of these films are MGM, so most of them are available on Warner Archive Collection. Keep Your Powder Dry and Slightly Dangerous 100% definitely are on DVD from Warner Archive Collection. They're on Watch DCM for another couple of days, so check them out. I enjoyed Slightly Dangerous best out of all of these films, but I also really recommend watching Keep Your Powder Dry. And just keep watching Lana Turner movies. She's fantastic.